Welcome to episode 2 of Weekly Account Fixing. Let's get right into it. This week was a little more focused on combat and resource gathering, as well as trying out teams. As such, I have not done any exploration or world quests. I started my week pretty normally, with 200 resin on Sunday. I know, it sounds like I already missed my goal on the not capping resin from last week, but Sunday is the day I edit these videos, and I didn't plan ahead properly. One day capped out of 7 is not a big deal, and still an improvement from last week, so I'm fine with it. Starting Monday, the game had the double rewards event for talent and weapon materials. I didn't feel like I needed any of those at first, so I wasn't sure about spending resin towards it. Still, I decided to plan ahead and spend a little towards Skirk talents. I figured I have my shiny new toy to play with, might as well gather materials to build her later on. Now, usually when farming domains, bosses, or spending resin in general, I pair a build character as main DPS with 3 non-build characters. The reason for that is that all my build characters have friendship level 10. Usually, I'm able to get away with this. This time was a little different. 90% of the time, the main carry I use is Arlecchino, and it makes sense. While I believe my Shao is more invested into and stronger individually, Arlecchino doesn't require a battery to get her damage output. No battery means one more open slot in the party, which means I'm able to maximize friendship acquired. My Arlecchino is, however, built with Vaporaz in mind, and most of my Hydro characters have maxed out friendship. Usually, this means I play her without any form of damage amplification, and while slower, it tends to be okay. The Natlan talent domain, however, makes you face 2 fluid avatars of lava. Whilst not a particularly dangerous monster, their 70% pyro resistance makes my Arlecchino completely irrelevant. I didn't feel like using Zhao either, as using him usually requires me to use at least Farazan and sometimes Zhanyun for a bit of healing. So, I had to pick from my other carry characters, which are all mostly terribly built. I could either use Yoimiya, which would be a strict downgrade from Arlecchino, or Eula, which could probably work. Although I'd have to pair her up with an off-field electro application character and probably a battery to be able to charge up her burst for the next clear of the domain. None of these sound like really compelling options. So I thought, Skirk is level 80, her weapon's level 80, her main talent is somewhat leveled, and I can put together a few Hydro and Cryo characters. She doesn't have artifacts though. What's the worst that could happen? So I did just that. And saying the results were completely unexpected would be a massive understatement. I expected a clear, maybe a few seconds faster than Arlecchino at best. Not whatever that is. Thinking about it though, it makes perfect sense. Skirk can only play freeze teams, meaning she's not able to make use of powerful amplification methods like reactions. I'm also aware that she was paired with 2 of my somewhat built off-field carries, whose damage was probably a considerable portion of my clear. Still, her damage with 2 unenhanced artifacts, including a 4-star flower and a level 1 attack person circlet, really surprised me. I'm also aware that those particular monsters have permanent pyro applied to them, enabling reverse melt on them. Those domain clears made me really happy with my decision to commit to Skirk and Azurite. Even without her optimal supports, I feel like I can make her work out. So, I decided that I'll allocate more time and resources to make her one of my powerful characters. Her addition to my roster of carries is also really convenient. Despite having both Ayaka and Ganyu, 2 other main cryo DPS, I never actually wanted them, and their playstyle never felt compelling enough for me to build them. And so, every time Spiral Abyss required cryo usage for, say, Electro Shields, or just from the blessings, I was stuck trying to brute force with Shao or Arlecchino, really hindering my ability to clear. This week turned out to be a story of discovering what Skirk can do. The next day, with Spiral Abyss still being the rotation from Skirk's banner, I felt confident I could at least clear 12, thinking I'd probably get maybe 3 stars max. I mostly wanted to try out my damage while trying to earn the clear rewards for a bit of Mora and leveling resources. Arlecchino top half, Skirk bottom half. Some monsters I barely know. Here's how it went. I did not expect a 6-star clear of floor 12. Sure, I had upgraded her circlet to plus 20, but it was still trash. Sure, she was accompanied by my okay-ish tier Furina and Dragon Slayer Kokomi, but 6 stars really took me by surprise. The next day, Wednesday, I spent some time gathering materials for Shanyu, Skirk, as well as Azurlite, and upgraded the former to level 80 Ascended, and the latter 2 up to 90, while also getting Skirk's skill level to 7. Those are not the only characters I worked on, however, as my Faruzan got a burst upgrade from 3 to 7, and my Bennett got a weapon upgrade, dropping his Favonius sword in favor of Aquila Favonia, which was rotting in my inventory until now. Now, let's get to the Primogem and Resin breakdown. I earned 1,236 Primogems, bringing me up to 2,750. Just like last week, 630 from Welkin and 420 from commissions. 100 for my 6 Spiral Abyss stars in floor 12, 40 from the Mapuika and Emily character trials, 15 from achievements, and 31 from the couple chests I found while getting materials. I spent 0 Primogems as I'm not very interested in Mapuika or Emily for now, and would rather get characters that work with my current teams like Yellen or Escoffier. Now for the resin breakdown. Sunday, 200 went to Golden Troop. Monday, 60 went towards Skirk talent materials, and 90 to the following weekly bosses: All Devouring Narwhal, Everlasting Lord of Arcane Wisdom, and The Game Before the Gates. I chose the 3 bosses to get materials for Shanyun, Farzan, and Skirk respectively. By the way, as a side note, I had never fought those last 2 bosses, and while the Unresolved chess game was honestly pretty fun, albeit very confusing at first, and despite me not bringing any way to properly freeze the bosses, the other one with a name way too long was just confusing. The first phase just has a bunch of things happening that makes it kinda hard to keep track of everything, and the second phase is so underwhelming. Am I just supposed to wait for the collectible to appear so I can break his shield? I haven't fought every weekly boss in the game, but so far this one really felt like the worst of them all. And that says a lot when Storm Terror is also in the game. Tuesday, I spent 100 resin to finish gathering the required talent books for Skirk, and 40 towards Skirk artifacts. I know I was supposed to farm Golden Troop, but I really got excited to build Skirk. Still, Wednesday I kept my urge under control and went for 120 plus my weekly transient resin towards Golden Troop, and the event bonus was spent on Shanyan talent materials. Thursday was the same, minus the 60 from the transient, for a total of 160 spent that day. Friday I logged on a little later than I should have, and my resin capped again. I used 140 resin on Golden Troop, and as for the double drop event, after 1 run for Shanyun, I had enough for my build goal. So the next 40 was spent toward Bennett talent materials instead, to be able to squeeze more attack out of his burst. In the same purpose, my Saturday resin was spent toward leveling my Aquila Favonia from level 1 to 70, using 60 resin in the process, and 100 left went towards Golden Troop again. Saturday also marked a few build changes. I leveled Kokomi's Thrilling Tales of Dragon Slayers to level 20 for a bit more HP, and equipped 4 random pieces of Tenacity of the Millist. Since I have been using her alongside Skirk, I want her to pull her weight a little more. That wraps it up for the resin recap. Here's a visual one. Next week, I want to get Skirk some real artifacts, so I plan on taking a break from Golden Troop domain and going towards Finale of the Deep Galleries. I also want to try to clear the Abyss again, before the Blessing rotates and Skirk loses a significant amount of power. I also would like to get a kill of Avonia to level 90, but apart from that, I don't really have any other goals next week. That's really about it for today. If you like the series, be sure to subscribe to not miss the next episode.